My name is Kitty Hazel. I am an associate with Tree Fundraising. I have been a fundraiser in North America and in the UK for over 24 years. I have worked in corporate. I've done events. I've done Canada-wide events. I've done major gifts, which is really my forte. And so today's an opportunity for you to ask any questions. You can take yourself off mute and then we can hear you, which would be lovely. You can even take your camera off if you'd like to, or you can put it in the chat, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for taking yourself off. Now I can look at someone aside from me. Hi, Roxanne. Thank you. It's really hard when you just stare at yourself on the screen. Yeah, as you can all imagine. And you guys look great, and it's so nice to see you. And you can ask any questions you want. I'm going to do my very best to answer them. I just want to say this is a safe space. I do a lot of mentoring with fundraisers. There are no such thing as a silly question. I can guarantee that if you're thinking about it, someone else is thinking about it as well. So I'm going to open this up. This is your time. Anyone wants to go, just unmute, ask away. Go, Roxanne.
Hi, Kitty.
Hi.
Hi. I'm not even prepared, but we can't sit here in silence. So, I
Thank you.
guess the thing I'm working on at the moment, so I'm doing a big project with Money Tree, but my job in the project for our major donor piece is to fix up our privacy policy, privacy notice.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been pulling all the bits together, but I'll just be keen to know what others have done in terms of feeling confident that the policy is doing what it needs to do. Have you had legal advice? Have you saw anything? I'm not sure. I'd just be keen to know what others might do to make sure that's in good shape.
I think everyone, if you want to join in and answer that question, that would be amazing. Is there anyone who's been working on a privacy policy that could give some insight?
Specifically one that's really enabling us to do that. I've lost the words. Sorry, I've jumped in from another task and I'm not in major donor zone. Small charity CEO syndrome. Prospecting, that's what I'm after. So I need to make sure I'm able to go through our database and do prospecting and so on, and make sure the privacy notice allows that.
I'm not sure what I can actually add, but at our charity, we recently had some wealth screening done, and part of that process meant that we did actually have to look at our privacy policy. Unfortunately, I wasn't actually involved in that part. That was actually done by our CEO, but it was actually a really useful exercise to do. Because I think, it sort of very much brought us up to where we needed to be. So although I can't actually offer you anything at all other than to say we did it because we were doing wealth screening, which I think really sort of gave us the push that we needed to relook at it. But I don't know if anyone else obviously has got any experience in that. But I thought I'd join you rather than leaving the question hanging.
It's good to know.
Roxanne, what specifically are you trying to ascertain?
I think that we're a small charity, so we've kind of cobbled together our policy, looking at other organizations. We like that, sort of putting it together. And now I'm cobbling in a few more bits and pieces. And maybe that's enough, but I just wondered if best practice would be to pay for a lawyer. Of course, we're always trying to be as, uh, resourceful as we can. So I was just intrigued to see if there was any advice about, do you just
Do
cobble
you
it
have
together or do it with a
do you
lawyer?
have a board or do you have a board of trustees?
I do, yes, but I'll be
Is
leading them
any
on this.
okay, and anyone has a legal background on your board? Okay. Yeah, so one thing at Money Tree Fundraising, we're not experts at this
Yeah.
privacy policy. We can guide you, as you know, but we always recommend having someone look it over if you can. But we do have some really good ones that we've not co-written, yes, guided on writing.
Mhm.
And we could always share that with you if that might be helpful. I could send you the link to that.
Yeah, that
But
would be great. I mean, my
yeah,
consultant has sent a few, but I'm always keen to see others. I guess it sounds to me like in the charities in my space that for the most part we just cobbled them together. And I guess you have to do a risk assessment of any chance of that going wrong. Small. But yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
the most important thing is you want to make sure that your privacy policy is very clear, crystal clear, and allows you to do what you need to do to have a successful major gift program. So collecting data is really important. If you're going to do the well screen, it's being able to do a due diligence on them. Those are the main key things. There's a lot more, but it sounds like you probably have it if you've been talking to other organizations. I think what you need is someone to look it over and say yes.
Yeah.
And if you can, I personally think there's nothing wrong. I would rather spend the money up front and get someone to review it than you're always living in fear that one tiny thing is not perfect and someone's always come after you.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. A bit of money up front can save you a lot in the long run.
Yeah. And gives you confidence that you know you got it all nailed out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And also just the nature of my job is there's rarely time to do a proper sit down and focus on things. So someone that is used to looking at long, complicated legal documents will do a better job of picking things out. So yeah, I mean, that's my turn. And I'm hoping someone will do that for free. So well, we'll try.
Yeah. That's when you want to talk to your board and see who they know.
Yeah. It's who I know seems to be the thing there. Okay. Brilliant. Thanks, Angie, for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a couple of questions in the chat. So someone's asking, Anna is asking, how would you go about converting a warm donor, so someone has been to an event and donated previously, into a regular giver? What would be your strategy? So, Anna, the person's already given you a gift and come to an event. They're engaged and they know what you guys are doing. Have you asked them to become a regular giver? That's the number one thing, is have you actually just asked them, would you like to continue their support on a regular basis to enable the organization to know that money's coming in so they can use that information when they're doing their planning? So I'll leave that with Anna to reply back to me, but that's the most important thing, is just ask. I think we're so nervous about asking our donors sometimes questions, but they're just people like us. Does anyone else want to ask anything? Don't be shy. Anything. This morning I had someone email me and say, just someone I know, she said, I have to ask you a question, Kitty. My CEO is going to a meeting. Should I go with them? And I'm like, well, are you managing the relationship? She goes, yes. Yes, you should go with your CEO to the meeting for loads of reasons. One, you're going to be doing all the work. You're going to be doing the notes and the writing the thank you, even though your CEO might send it. But also, it gives you an opportunity to kind of let your CEO know what you're capable of doing. And also, you get to hear your chief exec talk about the organization. So that's really helpful too. So I always think the fundraiser should go as much as possible. Don't want to leave your chief exec alone in the room with a donor. You just don't know. Some chief execs aren't as good as others. You just don't know what they're going to say. I have some hands up. Allison. Oh, you're on mute.
I'm unmuted now. Anyway, hi everyone. I'm from a charity in Suffolk called Active Lives. We've been going for about 17 years. I've been with the charity 7 years. My official title is Community Engagement Officer, but I can tell you now that covers a lot of different areas. Fundraising isn't something I'm new to at all, and everything else. The problem we have is in Suffolk, there are a lot of charities that work throughout the whole of Suffolk, okay? And some of them are linked to national charities. They have got in place major donor or major partnerships managers who can go out and do all of this. Now, this is something that I want to get involved in with the 5 minutes that I've got, if you know what I mean, in the workday. I do understand it. I've come from a corporate background. The problem we have is because we are within the context of geographically in, let's just say, Ipswich and East Suffolk, we don't perhaps offer, I know I totally understand major donor principles. I can tell you that now categorically, but perhaps I don't know how what we offer is perhaps suitable for some of the high net worth donors. The difficulty we've had is because we work with older people, majority of our connections within the organisation are to our members. They're not members, but that's what we call them. So a lot of them are age 60 plus. There's nothing wrong with that. Age 60 plus, major, you know what I mean? And they are from that area. What I'm trying to do, but we are up against competition as well. I can tell you now from local borough councils who've re-instructed and got commissioned, other charities that have got commissioned. We're not commissioned. So every little piece of penny that we get, we have to hang on to. And given what's coming on Wednesday, I'm not totally thrilled about that either. However, I digress. So my thought is, in a very competitive marketplace, which we have, and we're not the big boys, we've got 14 staff, and not everybody's part full-time. There's only 2 people, and it's not me. So come on, Kitty, solve my problem for me.
So, just to recap, you focus right now on partnerships.
Yeah, we do a lot with partnerships. We do a lot of we apply for grants through various community foundations. We apply direct. We know what we're doing on that score. But it's when it comes to looking at any higher, major donors, we've never been able to quite tick that box. I personally think it's because we don't have, and I'll use the language I would use, Kitty, we don't have the time to schmooze as much as some of the other charities do, and to go to all these even network dues, these network this and network that. I'm delivering. So is my CEO.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Well, okay. So let me ask you a couple of questions. What do you consider a major donor? How much money do they have to give to be a major donor?
Well, to us, a major donor would be, to be honest with you, anything from £1,000 up.
That's fine. That's a lot of charities. The £1,000 is a threshold. So don't even think that's low. That's perfectly fine.
5 would be good.
Okay, of course. Do you have anyone who's given you £1,000 in 1 year?
No, not unless it was a grant we applied for.
Okay, so no individual's given
£1,000. Yeah, not an individual.
No individual's giving you £1,000.
No.
Okay, so you want to start a major donor program. Okay, the first thing you need to do is, I know your time precious. I understand that. You have to understand major giving takes up quite a bit of time.
I know.
So I think it's important for you guys to work out. You don't have any donors right now, but do you know of individuals that you think are giving to you at maybe £500 a month, £500 a year that you think could give more?
Possibly. Something I'd need to identify. I don't have all the figures offhand because that's with our finance manager. Okay. And so that's the type of information that we need to identify. I've got a meeting with my CEO. We work very closely. We're a very small team. We're all out doing stuff, but we work very closely. And I'm an ideas person. The trouble is, every time I have an idea, I've got to do it.
Okay. The one thing I want to say is there's a lot of organizations that think they should launch a major gift program, but it actually takes quite a bit of work in the background before you can do that. Yeah. You have to outline your processes. GDPR is a big thing. Privacy policy is a big thing.
We've got every policy you can possibly think of, so we're covered on that.
So that's good. How are you going to steward the donor? What kind of? These are all the things you have to put in place, though. What are we asking for? So if someone does decide they're going to give us £5,000, what are we going to do with that £5,000? How do we report back? How do we thank? How do we make sure that we can also get another £5,000 for that person, and what's it going to be for? There's actually quite a bit I think before you embark on, I want to do a major gift program, you need to first look at your database and understand who is in our database that we know already, that's already engaged with us and knows us, and who can give to us.
Yeah, I do understand that as well. I do understand it. But the I suppose the crux of it is, do we put that to one side? I mean, this is a major donor, application, and I know most of us want to be able to get that. Roxanne, I would suggest that you also talk to any of your volunteers or supporters for your charity as well, because you never know who's going to come up and who knows who. It's all circles of influence. Sorry. But I do think that perhaps I'll listen now and see what everybody else wants to say, because I'm now not sure whether we've got the capacity, and it's always down to that, the capacity to do it. I have the knowledge. I have the background. I worked in business development for 30 years in the corporate world. I understand. Okay. But what a lot of we lost one charity because they didn't think we had enough coverage.
Right.
You know what I mean? From that point of view, for their their business,
But
which
that's
had
the
been
same with major
supporting
gift
us.
programs,
Yeah.
Alison. It's capacity. You have to be able to service these people.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you do it wrong, it can destroy your opportunity to build a really good program because they all talk to each other. And if you do it right, it's fantastic. I'm going to see if anyone wants to jump in. I do have some questions on this. Does anyone want to ask or help with that Allison's predicament? Has anyone done a program where they don't really have donors giving?
I'm just happy to share. So
Yeah.
I've put it in the comment. I'm retrofitting a major donor program.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it now.
After flying a bit blind for a while, and something that's really helped us was actually the Big Give Christmas Challenge. So because we didn't really talk about donating at all, we're a membership charity, so that's already a really good start because I've got signed up members, but using something like the Christmas challenge when I didn't even really have comms, or I think it was just me when I first did it, we were able to start a conversation because it's Christmas, it's this challenge. Oh, we're just doing this thing. But then I was able to see, oh, hang on, this person gave 500, this person gave 1,000. Next year they gave a bit more, And now we do 2 of those a year, and it's bringing in well over 50,000 for our small charity. But I've been able to find those people and start building those donations. So I guess that's one piece of advice I would give is don't try and do it all year round. Maybe find, and I now have what I call major donor season, and I sort of limit it to 3 months of the year where I really, of course I do relationship management throughout, but I'm really keen on it for those 3 months of the year, and I really do all my work around there. Seasonally, that works for us as a charity. So find a hook to start the conversation, or find the people, and maybe, I manage mainly three relationships at the moment, and they all happen around May. Shocking for cash flow, but it sort of makes it more manageable for me as CEO. But now one of my major donors has funded a fundraiser, but the first step is the consulting project to work out exactly what my fundraiser needs to be able to do.
Right. Great. So Alison, I think that's a really good opportunity right there. But also, again, capacity to manage these people when they give is really, really important.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm so fortunate with my major donors. They're deeply connected to our cause, and they're quite low maintenance. They're sort of startup kind of people, venture capitalists. They don't want their time wasted. 1 hour of coffee a year is all they want to give you because they're busy people. I mean, it's a dream, and I know it's not that easy for others.
Can I ask, being thrown in the deep end, basically, afternoon, everyone. The organisation I work for is a small charity also, and I wanted to find out what do funders look at, apart from obviously the application form. What else do they look at? Do they look at your website? Do they look at what do they look at when it comes to awarding funding?
You're talking about trusts and foundations?
Sorry?
Are you talking about trusts and foundations? What do they look at? Or individual donors?
Individual.
I'd like everyone to answer if you want, but I know in my opinion, I think the donors that I've worked with, you're with Camp Cycle. Oh, Jane's working with you. Oh, great. Okay. Thanks, Roxanne. Do you want to answer that, Roxanne? Then I'll jump in.
Sure. Well, firstly, this is game changer. Well, not game changer for us because we've always done it. So 30 years of producing our magazine. We do it 4 times a year. And this magazine has more than paid for itself. One funder picked it up in a cafe, read about us, and gives us £5,000 a year, and has done for quite a few years. So any meeting I have with any funder, I always take the magazine, and we've put some effort. 1 second, I'll grab it.
Veronica, do you have a magazine like that?
No, we're doing a brochure.
You have a brochure, okay.
Yes. Oh, right.
And your report.
Right.
This is the thing, and it doesn't need to be this much, but really it has the financial breakdown, and it depends on the funder. But my most recent major donor spent a lot of time looking at this page, and it's the benefit of being a fundraising CEO and the finance director. Right. I know every single penny that we're talking about on here. So that, it's got all the things about our impact in the front, but this these two things are my number one assets, and they're both on the website. And any email that I'm sending to those people, I'm always going, oh, have you seen the latest magazine, or here's our annual report. And it also includes what our strategy is. So when I meet with them, I can go, look, here's the strategy, what we're trying to do, here's the proof of how we've done it, and here's what we're doing with our money. So strongly recommend something like that, if that's all right, Kitty.
No, I think that's fantastic. And actually, before I go to Angie, just very quickly, Veronica, I also know that donors will go on your website, and what really does help too is testimonials from other individuals giving at that level. If you could get like either a video or even just text, that helps reinforce that they're in good company. Right. Impact is the most important thing. They want to know for sure using their money wisely.
Right.
That's really crucial. Angie, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I've got quite a sore throat, so I haven't been talking much today. But I think I agree with Roxanne about having either a newsletter or brochure. But sometimes things that work really well is a webinar. So twice a year we have a webinar. So we'll either get our chief exec or a doctor. I work for a brain injury rehabilitation unit. So we will have somebody talking and giving a case study and talking about our work, our chief executive. And then we might invite 50 donors, but we might only get 5 people. So similar sort of size to this, where we would have a few people from a charity talk and have a presentation, and then have our supporters talking. Some of them go off camera. Some of them might even want to do anonymous, but it's been a really fantastic way. We started it over sort of COVID, where we did a virtual tour, and I think they really work really well. And especially for charities that don't necessarily have the money to spend on brochures all the time, to do newsletters, which are very time consuming, a webinar can really work. And it could just be with 3 or 4 donors and your chief executive or one of your nurses or one of the key workers. I think they work really well. Just also talking about Roxanne's thing about Big Give. I think that's brilliant. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the big give, because you might be too late now, but doing a match campaign. So you can say, I'm going to raise this money over Christmas. I want to raise £20,000. It's towards this project. And you go out to one of your donors to say, we want to raise a match campaign. Would one of our donors match it by 10,000, or even 5 to 3 donors for 2 or 3,000? It's a really opportunity to pick up the phone, talk to some of the donors, talk about some of the challenges. And Alison talked earlier about, your project might not be big enough, but actually donors want to really support small projects. They don't want to sometimes support the big charities. The smaller project you've got, the more they can feel that they are making a difference is really key.
Yeah, absolutely, Angie. Thank you. Alison.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was thank you very much, Roxanne. Great. I think we've got all the tools. We just haven't got the person time. We do a quarterly magazine, which admittedly I have been looking at. It tends to go out to people. It's sort of like a quarterly report on what we're doing. Lots of pictures, lots of chat, lots of quotes. Little sockets, because we do a variety of different activities. So each area, if you like, has a little area and everything. It's laid out beautifully, very well done. It is very popular, and we also do an annual report, and we do an impact report as well. So we've got that.
Yeah, right.
It's just
take it with you everywhere. Leave it everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about now. I think I'm going to have a conversation after this with my boss Julie, and say to her, I think we need. Well, I've already made a few other things. When I was in corporate land back in the day, a very long time ago now, one of the things I set up off the bat, which was because I was annoyed about somebody else who was doing it but charging for the privilege, was a networking group. I called it my top 100 group. Okay, this is just an idea, guys. You can do it small, you can do it big. It doesn't matter how you do it. I did it top 100. I actually had the Chamber of Commerce chief exec in Yorkshire, in York rather, where I was, coming to mine because of how I'd actually managed it. It was a great platform for the business that I was working for. It was a great platform because it allowed them to network and everything. And anybody who comes is then, Kitty will know what I mean, is then a warm contact.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that now as we speak, as
Yeah.
a way to get, if you like, guys, I'm going to use basic language because this is where development comes from. You want to get bums on seats. You want to get people in. You want to get eye to eye with them. Okay. Emails are great, but they're only one dimensional. So I think I'm really happy that I've come. I've already got lots of different information now. Roxanne, I definitely want to have a chat with you at some stage. But anyway, in your busy schedule, if you can fit 5 minutes in. And thank you for inviting me.
Oh, that was a great way to end the session. I know it's a short session, and if you have any more questions, you can put it in the group.